Hello.
What's going on? Zane, I see Jim. See Noah on here. Man, picking up my kid from school and then trying to get him his graham crackers and everything like that is not for the faint of heart. So thanks for putting up with my tardiness, everyone. Thank you. Yeah. What's going on with everybody? We got going on here. We got Jim, we got Noah, we got Matt. Hey Matt.
Hey.
Good to see everybody. Well, I'd say this, I'll get it rolling. Zane and I have been working very, I would say, diligently on our event that's coming up next week. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, this time next week will be hopefully all in person and finding something cold to drink, I guess. I don't know. And just getting together and being together. So looking forward to that. Zane's been amazing on handling a lot of this stuff. So I'm very thankful for that. And so yeah, that's Zane. You got anything as we're kind of get rolling out of this thing on and what's on whatever anything is on your mind?
Yeah, we will definitely have lots of cold things to drink. So whoever is listening to this or watching the recording should be looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be half of it's going to be a lot of education. It's going to be jam packed into one day on the Friday. I think the real key is I think I've got a total of like 9 different brokers that will be there. I've got 3 different attorneys. I've got shit, Zane. I mean, we got like 3 different CPAs. I mean, I've got like 4 contractors. I mean, I think the biggest opportunity really here is not only for like everyone to learn about real estate, but it's truly the opportunity to meet up with the guys that are really already kind of in the business and doing it, and allow you to kind of have a imagine like a baseball reference, like a stand up double, right? You're in score, you haven't scored yet, but you're in scoring position versus being, at the plate battling with 2 strikes trying to get on base. So that's the best way I can describe it. So I don't know. We're crazy excited. I mean, everything has been booked, everything's been paid for. We're ready to rock and roll, and we're just. I would say I'm just excited to see everybody. It's going to be a really really great time, and I hope to see everybody that's listening going to be there. So it's going to be great.
Mhm.
I'm
Zane, do
bummed
you
I
have
won't be
any?
there.
You going to be there, Matt?
I won't. I'm bummed I won't be there unless
Oh
something
no!
happens.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's okay though. Next year then. Next time. It's not a big deal.
yeah.
We'll
I'll
keep
make an
doing the
excuse
next
to
one.
come out. It won't be the same, but I definitely want to connect up with you guys in person.
Oh man, we'll get the next one then. Don't I mean don't think don't hopefully don't lose sleep over it. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a lot of fun when
Yeah,
I would say that it just like gets you energized when you're just
get you
around
pumped.
everybody in our group and you see people in person. You're kind of chopping it up. It's just fun. You've been to those kind of meetups. It's just way better in
Hmm.
person than it is on the screen. So.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, so Zane, if you don't mind starting us off, kind of where anything or everything is, maybe some members, what deals they're working on, some highlights of where we're at, and then we can kind of jump into what everyone's working on.
Yeah, for sure. So, I've been working with a few members, a lot of people in the very beginning stages, just getting to build relationships, starting to see their first deals come across the inbox, underwriting their deals and whatnot. I just talked to Noah this morning, not to
Nice.
put him on the spot or anything, but he's been working a few deals. And Noah, if you want to share, that would be great, just to kind of share your experience.
Yeah. Um,
Awesome.
for it was a quick 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Isn't that
told you that.
crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple things in the works now. Adam and I are working on a sale leaseback.
Nice.
We've kind of gone back and forth. A lot of value in working with Adam and learning how to do this because there will be no seller financing, but he's got the lenders, he can backfill the equity, and kind of teach me how to syndicate a deal.
Adam's
Um,
great, isn't he?
yeah.
Yeah, he's a great partner.
Um, Second deal, me and Zane kind of talked about this today. I went and walked a site last week. Um, a company bought it, sale leaseback, and then the company that was in there went bankrupt. They moved out. They got all their stuff in there. The owner, he just wants to get rid of it. So we're kind of trying to be creative here. And we're going to wait till the winter, till they got a snowbank about 5 feet high, till the building doesn't look too good.
Nice.
come in low and see maybe we get a pre-lease contingency. Maybe we try to have the current owner lease it back for a little bit, just to buy us some time because I'm not in a position where I can service debt. Um, yeah.
What do you think,
Cool.
Zane?
Well, I was interested in hearing a little more about the deal that you got a counter offer on, and you guys kind of landed on 9.7, what we were talking about earlier this morning.
Yeah. That's a deal out of Iowa. This guy kind of has like a 5-year buy and sell on a bunch of deals. I offered at a 10, went back and forth probably twice, and then we just landed on 9.7. It's strong. We got a I think it's 1.4 DSCR, but a 9.5 cash on cash.
Nice.
And he might be open to the idea of seller financing. He doesn't have a building currently to 1031 into.
Oh, so you asked him to
Yeah,
since we
I
talked.
home with him today actually after I called the broker.
Oh, it's awesome.
Him, he said he'd love to hear more about it. So that's a good place to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. So since we talked, you actually got on the phone with him, you said?
Yeah,
Okay, great. And so he doesn't have a property to 1031 into. Did you go over any type of terms or anything regarding the seller financing yet? Or
yeah. I just kind of threw it out there. He just wanted to know more. I threw out the 25%. Have the lender backfill. I was just trying to convince him that it's a capital gains play for him. Obviously, he's in the space. He knows all about it. He's been doing this for a while, he said, but
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's great because again, and that's another thing. Maybe I should add maybe like a bonus week on Zane if we can add that to our like to do list is just having a bonus week where hey, here's all the details of seller financing and how and why it makes sense, the vocabulary, the psychology behind all of that. So that way, Noah, Matt, when you guys, Jim, when you guys are going and actually pitching this strategy, you don't feel like you don't have all the information or the um, understanding of how and why the deal works. So I think that's one thing I can provide you guys with a little more like details on, like the way that I've done a couple of them. And usually, like you said, Noah, like you offered like initially 25%. Usually, if you position it properly, they end up wanting to leave more than 25% of the deal, depending upon your homework, where they bought it, and you understanding their capital gain situation after getting to know them. Again, like I said, I spent a bunch of time out of the gate, getting to know them in their circumstance before making the offer. But when you spend a bunch of time meeting with them, again, like creating the oxytocin release, like the bonding idea, they tend to be more open minded after you instead of just going right into it the kill and trying to um, negotiate the seller finance, which I think are like red flag words. I like to change the vocabulary to leaving money in the deal. It's not as invasive and it's not as like scary. Um, I think usually you can get a little further. Anybody have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm curious, Noah, how the conversation went. I mean,
Yeah.
just by having that conversation, you could have turned one deal into something that's worth 3 or 4 times as much.
yeah, I just and you had mentioned this today on the call. I just asked like, have you identified another property to put your 1031 into?
Mm.
And he said no. So I just kind of threw it out there like a feeler. If he had heard of it or where he stood on that. If he was a hard no, it's a strong enough deal that we can backfill equity. Probably I would bet no problem. So yeah.
I would say too, we got a couple of other members that have some liquidity that are looking for these types of sites. So I would say Zan and I have a call coming up on that, and I'm thinking in the new year moving forward that any new deal that fits into more of a larger, bubble that will have that ability to where when the seller is not interested in leaving money in the deal, I think it's going to allow us to have a higher possibility and probability to close deals because we'll have equity to inject. Zane, you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as we all know, it's more beneficial for you as, the general partner or the buyer to get the seller financing involved and everything. Sometimes you need another 10 or 15% of the purchase price to just match what the bank needs you to provide, um, even with raising money from an investor. So, or sorry, even with seller financing, maybe you need 10 or 15% to bring to the deal as well, just to have skin in the game, is what they say. So that could be an option, but also, yeah, like I've gone over with all these guys, I think, just how our investors are really motivated to make something happen. So if you can't get the seller financing to work out, then yeah, we have that as well as a resource.
Here's a thought for everyone too. I was meeting with an investor last night. We actually went over to Alabama Peanut Depot and ate some pulled peanuts, which was kind of fun. But he was asking me, he's like, he's looking at like a $3 million site that he's working on, and he has this. He's like, I don't know how I'm going to try and do it, this, that, and the other, like a little bit of timidness, a little bit of like, first timer syndrome. And I've been there, right? We've all been there. We're doing it right now. And what I recommended to him is, as you guys are all building your business and you're building your real estate purchasing empire, man, what I was doing is I was calling again. I'm 34, so my parents are in their 60s, and they got a bunch of other friends that are in their 60s, and a lot of them have equity or they've got some ownership in some stock. They've got some liquidity or they have equity somewhere. So what I was recommending to him, because he's like, I feel weird calling people in my phone to ask them for money. I'm like, first of all, you're not asking anybody for anything. You're offering them an opportunity. So if you can switch your mindset from thinking like you're asking somebody for something, like, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing what he was thinking, but it's also like you've got something that everybody's wanting, and it's commercial real estate. Everybody wants to invest in something other than their damn 401k. Like 401ks are boring, IRAs are boring. It's everyone's doing it. They want to do something different, a little spicy. And you've got something with commercial real estate. And so the way that I would position this is, again, not asking anybody for anything, but offering them an opportunity. But I was when I first started, I was just banging the phones down. I go from all the way from A to Z, just looking at opportunities, like asking all my parents' buddies if they would have 20 or 40,000 they like to invest in my next deal. 95% of them said no in the first deal. Like honestly, like everybody was saying no because I was just some schmuck, some wannabe, some nobody, right? Honestly. But here's the thing, here's the kicker, and this is for everybody listening. But what they did say is that they came up with some excuse. The timing is off. My kid's getting married. Something's going on. My kid's going to college. Like something. There's always an excuse, right? But the two positives that I received from that was, the first was, hey, the timing is off. Thank you for thinking of me. 9 out of 10 of them were all thrilled that I thought of them. Their name was just in my phone book and I hit send, right? And I called them. So I wasn't really thinking of them, if I'm being transparent. They were the next number on my phone book to call, right? But they thought I was thinking of them, if I'm being transparent. But I did say, they said, it was, I forget exactly how I kind of worded it, but I said, hey, I'm going to keep doing this. So you're going to miss this one, but I'm going to keep doing this. Do you want to know when the next opportunity is going to present itself? Absolutely, I would. So they whatever the reason, the timing is off because they didn't trust me, and I haven't been proven. Same thing for you, Noah. Same thing for you, Matt, and you, Jim, and Zane. All of us we're in that boat at a time. That we haven't proven anything, and we there's no evidence of success yet. So that's why the excuses are out there. But they are curious, and they do want to see what you can do. Because once you land that first deal and it succeeds, they want in on the next one, right? And that's when you dilute their equity even more. But my focus would be is, awesome. If you want in on the next deal, no problem. What's your email? I'll keep you on my email list. That's where you start building the email list that they all talk about. But again, you only got to have like 40 or 50 people on that list to where then you just keep them in the loop. Like, you do something, even if you're looking at a site, just like present, even if you're not even on a contract, like present the offer as to if you were gonna look at a site, because it creates like this experience, it creates this sophistication, confidence and trust. And that's what I mean. Zan and I are doing that pretty much every day now. Like whenever we have a deal or something, we just like blast it out and say, "Hey, we're thinking about looking at this site. Anybody have interest in this?" Boo, 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 boo. Everybody and their brothers like just flooding into our inbox with capital, and that's a blessing. But I'd recommend everybody to do that. Like it feels invasive, it feels a little uncertain and a little timid out of the gate, because you don't want to feel like, oh, I'm calling my dad's buddy, or hey, I'm calling, one of my doctor friends for money. You're not asking anybody for anything. You're offering them something. It's a totally different psychological response in their brain. So if you can bang out like 30, 40 emails, and then you just keep them in the loop as you're working your leads, you don't have to say, hey, I'm closing on this deal. Just be like, hey, I'm looking at this deal. This is the way that I'm underwriting it. Bam, 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 bam. Here's the information that I'm looking at. If you have any interest in learning more about our next project, respond to this email and I'll show you what the pro forma looks like. You would be blown away at how many people have liquidity that you probably didn't realize have, and then have appetite to invest in anything other than what they're in already. I mean, it is crazy. It is crazy. So that's kind of my quick little synopsis on like what's worked for me. And it takes some audacity. It takes a little bit of courage to go out there and be like, man, I'm going to make these calls to, you don't got to go down like A, B, C in your contact list. But man, I'm telling you, after like the 15th call and you heard no 14 times in a row, and you hear that first yes, it's like a dopamine, it's like a drug. And then you're like, wait a minute, how did that sound? And then you just find the next one, and then you just get more confident, more confident, more confident. And then you stop caring about the no's, and you're like, wait, for every no, I'm closer to a yes. And then it just like compounds and snowballs for you. So I'll get off my high horse, but like I recommend that to everybody, because it takes confidence, or it takes some audacity out of the gate to get over your timidness, to get over your hesitation of who you are. You feel like you have inexperience, but you're so much smarter and further along than all of those other people that are out there. And they're looking for people like us. Like they need people like us to go out there and to bring deals to them. I mean, they're looking for it. Everybody is. And so we're the ones underwriting deals like the proper way and doing it the right way, bringing on the right debt, bringing on the right partners. And I think everyone would be surprised as to who will come out of the woodworks after you have even one deal that succeeds, from nurturing them, from even an email a week, not even blowing them up, just an email. This is what I'm working on. You have interest in the next one? Your ability to describe the deal screams sophistication. Even showing your pro forma that all of us have. This is how I got to this number. This is why this deal makes sense. If you have interest in learning more about this project, email me. They will blow you up. So that's my Zane. Does anybody have a thought on that? That's what I've personally discovered, and it took some courage. But now there's never an issue with raising money to find the next deal. It's just about finding the right deal. So
I mean, I appreciate that. That's a nice little capital raising nugget. That's very, very practical. It's not complicated. There's other complicated ways. There's lots of social media and good things you can do, but really just building those relationships and talking about what deals that you may have, what opportunities. And I think on top of that, though, I could probably bring some people in if we as a group, or if there was a deal coming up and someone needed capital, I could bring some people in. And what I would help me, I think, not having closed on the first one, is just being able to we have an experienced operator or someone that knows how to manage these. Even though this class is less hands-on, it still shows at least they have some HUD. So I think if we had a group like you're mentioning, maybe in January, these individuals that have an appetite for more investing, I would love to have some of my investors potentially piggyback on that. Sure. So that there's, I'm joining in on one of the opportunities that might be coming up.
I think it's great. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game. I think there's a lot of appetite out there. I think right now we're at a crossroads just talking about real estate deals in general. I think we're at a crossroads of where sellers are discovering that the buildings that they've held in the past are not. I think they're coming down to reality. They've kind of held on their high horse for past couple of years, thinking their
Yeah.
real estate as a at a 5.5 cap is still
Yeah.
what it's worth, and it's just not. And they're sobering up, and buyers are still ambitious, but they're also not willing to overpay. So there, it's kind of this like fun little melting pot of who's going to blink first a little bit. And I think there's going to be some action in the new year, especially with all this depreciation that we still got, the 100% bonus depreciation. I mean, that opportunity is still out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm just bullish on the opportunities of just like piecing deals together. And when we have equity with some of our members and some of your partners, Matt, I'm just convinced that we can. I mean, I told Zane, I was like, I want to buy $15 million of real estate next year. Like, there's just no
Yeah.
reason why this is that we would not be able to do that. Like, zero reason why, zero. So now it just comes down to piecing it together and finding the right deals and maybe thinking bigger. Maybe thinking bigger deals.
And yeah, and I think a common theme that I've been facing is doing this as a team, doing whether this group or other things I'm doing, right? So I tend to be more independent, but you and Zane working together as a team, but we could probably put together some teams where nobody's trying to hoard their deal. You've got an acquisitions guy, you've got a closer, you've got a capital raiser, and you put these teams together, and then we go out and hunt for deals. Um,
Love it.
I have a broker, and I know we all are building those relationships, but there's a legitimate broker that's finding off-market deals. He's got a team looking for off-market deals to bring to investors that he has. And I just need to close that barrier of I have legitimate capital. I'm a legitimate investor that if he brings us a deal and it looks good, we can close on it. Without me just talking platitudes or, just trying to sound bigger than I am. Like if I legitimately had a team and could show capital, I think we could get some deals that I think are more on the value add side,
Yeah.
but still exiting the equity investor in like 18 months with their return plus, So
But let me ask you guys a question because I'm actually just curious for Noah and Matt and Jim, he's on here too. Do you guys have appetite? Is the main focus from y'all is it cash flow? Is it depreciation? Is it appreciation? Like what for y'all, what are you guys chasing? I want to make sure that my game is aligned with y'all's game. Like tell me what you guys are wanting to achieve. That way I can position things or focus on things that are important to y'all. Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm looking for appreciation. I'm not in a position that I am making a lot of money where I need depreciation. Um, and I mean, I'm not necessarily looking for cash flow. I'm looking for 20 years from now, what that building will be worth.
Yeah, see, I'm looking for a little bit of both, a little bit of cash flow and a little bit of appreciation, more on the appreciation side, because I'm looking to kind of build things and just I liked what Matt was saying in terms of trying to kind of present yourself as a bigger, um, I guess, fish looking for the bigger piece out there because what I find is quite often especially within the Charlotte area everybody wants to sell at the 5-6 cap rate, which is when we start looking at the trying to get ours up to 10%. I mean 10 yeah a cap rate is just it's basically cutting their price completely in half, going back to the point of where they almost bought the thing maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm kind of running into those. So the off-market deals are the ones that I need to. I'm trying to focus on in the Charlotte area, or trying to expand out that initial net, which is kind of leading into some interesting places as well.
I'd say like Jim, a balance. I mean, I wouldn't mind some assets that are just cash flowing and then naturally build an equity. I do like the value add game because that's a big play, especially if you do bring in investors. You it takes a little more market savvy because you don't have that locked in tenant with the triple net. You have to know the tenant needs. You need to be able to find tenants that would go in there. You find a little more of a distressed building, and you're adding something to it that then allows you to raise rent to the new tenant, then get you locked in, seasoned, and then refinance out that money. I like that play just as a more sophisticated approach to what we're doing.
No, that sounds good. That's, I mean, I'm with you guys, especially on like the cash flow and the appreciation. I mean, the depreciation, no matter what you purchase, is always going to be a factor. So it's always like a guarantee of a part of it. A thought
You
that
know,
go ahead.
with the depreciation, don't you really have to be a full-time real estate investor to really maximize that? I mean, that's kind of the little thing I'm kind of running into is that the depreciation would be great, but we could definitely use some depreciation in my scenario. But I thought you had to kind of be more of a full-time, designated real estate professional.
Yeah, you have to be a professional real estate investor, quote unquote, in order to take the loss against your earned income. You know,
Yep.
that's kind of the rule. But there's ways around this, meaning let's say that you bought $1 million bill. I'll just give you an example, Jim. Let's say that you're making, whether it's 200 or whether it's 500 or whether it's 5 million at your job,
Yep.
you're exposed to the government's talents. He's going to get a slice of everything that you earn. The more you earn, the more he takes. It's just inevitable. Uh, Depreciation can only offset your passive income from your real estate investment unless you or your spouse become a professional real estate investor. That's the only way because then your passive losses become active losses. So how do you qualify? You guys, you know this already. 750, half of your time in real estate. But I would go a step further, and when you are a not professional real estate investor right now and you're developing your business, the whole thing, I would say do not take the passive losses, the big the bonus because you can have this big passive loss on a million, which is 250 grand or $300,000, but don't take it yet. You can wait. Maybe what happens in 3 years from now when you do become a professional real estate investor, or in 18 months, or whatever it is, and then that's when you take that large chunk of passive loss. It becomes active, and that's when you dump it against your earned income. So
It's,
there's strategies behind how to actually because that loss will always carry forward. You don't lose it.
that's kind of interesting because I just come thinking back to some of the partnerships and stuff that Matt was talking about. My I guess us right now, my family's not really in the area where the depreciation that we could take it right now, but partnering up with someone that could take that depreciation somewhere else, maybe that's part of the play to kind of bring create that little partnership with some of these things that we're finding.
I mean, yeah, again, I look at it and think that the real estate is, I mean, it's really about, the way that you can deduct the losses are based upon what you do every single day. And the passive losses only become active after you or your spouse become the professional. It's that matter of fact. So maybe the strategy just becomes, hey, we're gonna do this cost segregation. We're gonna take this passive loss, this bonus depreciation. We won't pay taxes on the income of our real estate, but once we actually qualify for that professional status, that's when we dump this massive deduction against our income, and then you're able to get $150,000 refund because you on paper overpaid because of the losses that you've received from your passive income or from your passive investment.
So go back to your original question then to hit that point where you could become a professional real estate investor, that would, I guess, require to have the cash flow high enough to basically quit the W-2. So then you could designate yourself as a full-time real estate investor.
Uh,
So I mean, if we're
That's a good question. I would say this again. It's like if you're the breadwinner in your home, Jim. I
We're kind of
always
6'7", as the kids
recommend.
say.
What's that?
We're kind of 6'7", as the kids say.
I still need to study what that is even about. I don't.
That's kind of like a maybe yeah, so type thing, one or
Zane
the
would
other.
probably know.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I'm not that young.
Check out what the kids are talking about on Kids Bot, maybe. Who knows?
I'm not that young.
CDMI, CD-ROM. I don't know. My VCR, right, Zane? Zane doesn't know what a
Uh,
VCR is. Uh, no, I would say again, we can come up with like a reverse engineer of coming up with the math of like where does it actually make sense? Because think about this, man. Like this isn't directed at you, Jim, or Noah or Matt, but like if you're making X amount of dollars and your wife is making 100,000, hypothetically, right, or more or less. I mean, I don't, I'm just using a round number,
Right.
and your occupation is able to receive a $100,000 refund if your spouse is the real estate professional, because now she's spending over half of her time on paper in real estate, whether she likes to, dance around spreadsheets on Excel or she likes to drink Prosecco on the weekends at open houses, like whatever. She's in real estate. That $100,000 refund would essentially free her from her occupation of her trading her time at her job, right? So that's the way that I think about it. And if you can do the math, and again, you have to buy real estate in order to, well, I take that back. You don't necessarily, and you can ask Clay this, my accountant, on like Clay would say, have your spouse become a real estate agent, and she doesn't have to be good at her job or his job, or however you want to get philosophical, right? But
I already have a real estate agent license. It's just inactive right now, but it's just sitting there.
dude, I
So
mean, you're
yeah,
already a pro though, Jim. I was gonna say you're appraising and everything. I mean, you're
yeah,
already a real estate
yeah.
professional. I mean, it's like you would absolutely qualify. I mean, Zane, am I crazy by saying? I mean, you 100% qualify like already.
yeah,
There's, there's,
I'm
Think
not
that you don't
I think there's
qualify?
something to add to that. This is
Yeah,
all
Matt, what do you think?
entertainment purposes only, but my CPA advises, and I believe it's pretty clear in the law that 500 hours have to be material participation. So
Mhm.
operator activity, not investor activity. That means when you buy a property, you have to log a lot of time. Now the nice thing is I was in 2024, didn't quite make it this year, but my wife and I we had to travel to the sites where our rentals are to go engage with the tenants or the property managers. So we logged the entire time it took for us to get to that location as material participation.
That's right.
But it does, you do have to engage in operator activities. So
And if we're gonna be real philosophical, so I'm with Matt. Matt's a much more straight-laced person than I am. I'm not logging into this shit. I'm more
well,
I'm more of a cowboy. I'm
that's all well and good
come and take it.
until you get audited. So then when you get audited, you better bring
That's
those
right. That's right.
logbooks out. So
I got to go
whatever,
back on my Google sheet and like come up with
yeah,
something. Oh well,
get AI to write you a logbook. No, I didn't
I'm
say
gonna be
that.
totally like red flag. See, the IRS is gonna come after me now. I'm gonna get a letter in the mail or something. Who knows?
They'll
But
post a video.
here's the thing, I would say this though, when you own some property though, it would be difficult. And this is what, again, this is from my accountant. He'd be like, and he's speaking next weekend, but he's like, if you own real estate, it's difficult to not be in the business. It's
Mhm.
just not difficult to not quantify, if that makes sense. So, and he would even say if you're dancing around, Zillow or LoopNet, even in the evenings, that would quantify as being in real estate according to
Really?
law, based upon what my accountant said. So that's not coming from me. That's me regurgitating what he would say. So when
Yeah.
you're looking at real estate, you're underwriting deals on the pro forma, all that stuff. That is you in real estate. You driving to Home Depot, like Matt was saying, you planting flowers in front of your Airbnb. Took you 20 minutes to drive, 20 minutes to pick out the flowers, 20 minutes to drive, 20 minutes to like all that is time. It's time. And the quantification truly at the end of the day is in case the IRS says, wait a minute, prove it. And then you have proof. It's evidence at that point. That's really all it is. But if you have enough real estate, it would be impossible for you to not quantify and say, there's no way I'm not in real estate. I'm walking sites every other day. I'm actually meeting with contractors. You're meeting with brokers. Like You're talking with them on the phone. That's time in real estate. I mean, it's impossible for someone not to quantify you being in real estate. That's just what Clay Hagler would say, my
Yeah.
accountant.
I'm looking forward to talking to him next week. It's gonna be tremendous. I'm getting my
I'm
wife coming
telling
up
you,
there. We're loving it, buddy. It's gonna be tremendous.
he is a killer, and he has saved me at least 7 figures in tax. I mean, it is unbelievable. He's a martyr in my book, at least. So yeah, 100%. All right, where are we next? Zane, you got anything else? Noah, Matt, what else is on y'all's mind? Kind of just chopping it up right now.
I have a quick question. As
Yeah,
we're kind of looking for things, the Charlotte market is kind of tough now because everybody's like trying to get the 5-6% caps and stuff. So when I started spreading my kind of net out a little bit further, ran into this deal. It's absolute net. It's about 100,000 square foot type warehouse that's out there. It's kind of the problem is out in the middle of nowhere. One of these little small towns that's out in the middle of like nowhere. Currently has this food distributor in there. It's been there for a long time. They had just signed another lease with Absolute Net. They're up until like 2032. The numbers seem to be pretty good and stuff. They're currently at eight a cap, but I mean I think there's room to kind of bump it up and stuff. But one of the things that kind of concerns my wife and I is if these people leave for whatever reason, or even at the end of the lease, you're stuck with this 1,000 square foot warehouse out in the middle of nowhere, and you're kind of there's not much kind of fall back on because I don't know if there's much other demand for that type of size warehouse sitting out there, even though it's close to interstates and stuff. But man, it's one of those drive past and you didn't even notice it on the way by. And
so what's your question on that?
the
Like,
question is, I mean, that type of thing, we're kind of looking at that and saying, okay, it's one that if it was closer in, it might be worth it. But from what our kind of, I guess, concerns are, is again, the numbers look good now, but in the future, that might be a big red flag of just, don't touch it just because location.
is it owner user right now? Do you know?
It is. I think it is. But again, and these guys are, pretty big distributing company, food company. They got it's sitting out there where it is because there's a lot of like farms and things around. But again, if they leave, you're kind of stuck with a huge warehouse and nothing to do with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My best recommendation on sites like that is,
Yeah.
well, first, if it's close to the highway where you can have decent visibility, that's going to give you a better opportunity to potentially release the space if they happen to leave. But
Right.
also, too, do you have any? I mean, I don't know this guy's the business or whatever, but like, is it a family business? Has it been a generation business? Have they, oh, grandpa
Sure.
started it and dad got it, and now it's my
Right.
business. Like, is that a thing, or is it more of like these kids like peace out, can't wait for grandpa to die so I can get the money?
Yeah.
Like, there's all kinds of people out there like that. I mean, but if you can judge the business, you can get an understanding of where the business is and the intrinsic value of the site or of the business. I think
Mhm.
that's what's going to allow you to underwrite the actual real estate a little bit better.
Okay. That's a good point.
But it's a little
Yeah.
spooky. I would say it's a little spooky if you got a building that's you got kind of tied up for one tenant, they've been there for 40 years, and if they have to go sideways, but also it's the same thing too, where they've been there for 40 years, they might be for 40 more years,
That's true. I
and
mean, they got a couple other warehouses around the country, one in Texas, another one, I think a little bit farther out west or whatever. But again, that location is kind of a little nervous for us. But
yeah.
anyway,
Well, the good news is this. I would say this is if the seller is leaving money in the deal, if you make
Mhm.
that offer to them, whatever the number is, a round number is $1 million or 5 million or whatever, if
right.
they leave money in the deal, the good news is you are not out of pocket. So if these guys leave in 6 years, give the keys back to the bank and say, good luck, Bubba.
That's a good point.
And then and then what's the bank going to do? I mean, they're the one holding the bag at the end of the day. So just a thought where you can say, and then the seller, they're not going to want to leave because they got money in the deal. So then you can
Yeah.
position the deal and say, hey, how about this? I'll pay you. Let's say it's a 5-year lease existing. This is what you do, Jim.
Hmm.
5-year lease left. You buy it with seller leave money in the deal for 5 years. This is the offer. Sully's money in the deal for 5 years. We will balloon you out, contingent upon you renewing for another 5 or 7 or whatever the lease would be. And then if they don't renew it, well then guess what? The whole deal blows up and you get to release it to somebody else or whatever. And it just puts a little pressure on them to stick in the site with the rent bumps and the increases. And then
Yeah,
you sign them up for another 5 or 7, and you pop it at an 8 to somebody else. Then you catch a capital gain.
that's not a bad idea.
Something along those lines. That's the way I would
That's
like
interesting.
kind of just like think about it out of the gate. Just make something contingent upon them renewing the lease, keeping them
Mhm.
in the site, because then you're going to have holding costs, you're going to have leasing fees, you're going to have tenant improvements that you're going to have to pay, and it's not cheap to do all that stuff. But if you can keep them in the site and then you just renew the lease, you extend for 5 or 7, somebody out there, some fund. I got some fund right now. Literally, I told Zane this 2 days ago. I got a fund trying to buy everything that I own right now. It's unbelievable. I've never experienced it in my life. And
Wow.
but there are funds out there that are buying things. And if you can pop something for 5 more years, they're gonna crawl over you like a tarantula. I mean, it's unbelievable.
No, I like that.
Yeah. So just a thought. That's why I would like off the cut, just like trying to think of something like that.
Yeah. Great. Thanks.
So yeah. We're looking forward to seeing you next weekend, Jim. We're crazy excited. We're crazy
Man,
excited.
I got my wife in this. She's coming up with us. It's gonna be
Awesome.
tremendous.
Awesome.
All
It's
sorts
gonna
of
be so
experience.
great.
Yeah.
Like, we just got all the t-shirts in like just this afternoon. It's like we got like everything paid for. I'm thrilled. I'm ready to rock and roll. It's gonna be great to see everybody. So
Nolan, I got one more
oh,
thing.
yeah, man, what
Uh,
you got?
Going back to like building your investor list, I've taken the stance where I have no credibility, but I'm telling them like if a bank is willing to do this deal, why would you not jump on top of that with them? Is that a good way to approach it, or how do I fine tune that?
Uh it sounds like you have again, don't take this like derogatory. I'm just you asked the question, I'm just telling you my response. It
Yep.
feels like a little bit of like a desperation, like a Hail Mary. Like, hey, if the bank's doing this, why wouldn't you do this? Like,
Yeah.
that's not the way to approach it. It's more of like, hey, if you don't buy into this, dude, that's your loss, not mine. I got 50 other people that I'm calling this afternoon. This deal is going to be tied up by 4 p.m. this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon, whatever your pitch is. Like, what I discovered that was successful and what's been successful for me is when I have not imposter syndrome. That feels a little fake. That's not the right vocabulary or adjective for that. But when I just have oozing confidence in myself to achieve what I'm setting out to achieve. So if you know that you got to raise $1 million or whatever it is, and hey, you work backward and say, I gotta have, I need 20 guys to all throw in 50 grand, right? Or whatever that we know, or if it's 5 million or 50 grand or whatever the number is that you're looking for, reverse engineer yourself into that number and then just die on that hill. Just be like, if you don't buy into this, I say, hey, Noah, hey, man, we're working on this site. I'd like to offer you this opportunity. I know that we run together. We did this, that, and the other. I know that you know my dad. I know you know my mom. You have a little rapport out of the gate. Hey, I know that, you were my high school baseball coach, like whatever it is. I like, maybe you know or maybe you don't know, but I'm in commercial real estate now and I'm purchasing multi-million dollar sites. Do you have any appetite to get a better return than the 4% or the 3% that you're getting in your fucking checking account? Yeah, I do. I have appetite for that. Okay. Well, here's what we're offering right now. Bam, 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 knock them down. Well, the timing is off. No, when you say, I'd like to offer you this opportunity then. Okay, well, what does that sound like? You're not asking for anything. You're offering them something. They're going to say no because they don't trust you yet. You don't have you don't have the track record. You don't have the experience on paper, and that's when what happens. Because here's the thing: you make 100 calls, 6 people are going to say yes to you. Like it's the math. Like you'll get 5%. Like again, you can throw a rock at a dart at a map, and you'll eventually you throw a dart at a map at a globe 100 times, you're going to hit the United States of America at least 5 times, 100 times. Like it's inevitable. So the same thing happens with the phone calls. You can get to that based upon volume at the top of the funnel. So if you can go back and say, if you got to make $1 million, you got to raise $1 million. I just would let them know, I'm offering you an opportunity. If it's not for you, they're going to say, well, it's not for me. Timing is off. No problem. Do you have any interest in this type of asset, of passive income in your life? Maybe you're trying to achieve this, that, and the other, figure out what their problem is. It's sales. It's like sales. Oh, I would love to do this. Okay. How about I put you, are you opposed to, always use that. Are you opposed to me adding you to our email list where I just share with you what the deals that we're doing and the deals that we're closing? No, I would love to see that. Bam. All right. What's your email? And just add them to it. And then every week, just send them something you're working on. Like Zane and I do that every single week. We just like send an email out on, hey, here's another deal that we're considering, we're working on right now. It's not a big one. Maybe it's a big one. Maybe it's a small one, but we're just sending stuff out to just keep people engaged and they're reading it. And then when that deal pops up and the opportunity does present itself, you're not soliciting, you're not breaking any SEC laws because they've given you permission to solicit them. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I've discovered. That's what's worked for me. You don't need them. They need you. If you can have that mindset when you go into those calls and you're having some timidness or a little bit of fear. So I'm not saying this that I've experienced this. Like you feel stupid on the phone. I'm like, I'm calling my dad's neighbor. Like, hey dad, or hey, Mike Fox, who's my dad's neighbor. Hey Mike, do you have any appetite? Like I'm doing, dude. It was so awkward because, that's my dad's friend, and I'm calling him to, which felt like asking for money, but I wasn't asking. I was offering him something, but he didn't. It's not for him at that point. But the whole point is this. You have something that everybody's chasing. If you can position it properly and you can have some scarcity behind it, that if it's not you, it's going to be the guy behind you, you're going to increase your level of success of people saying yes. That was a long-winded answer to describe how to make those calls. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's what I've discovered works for me. And when you build that up, dude, I'm not exaggerating. You build that up to like 40 people, you'll never have a problem raising money again, like ever. Because even if you buy a $5 million site, all you need is like 15, 20 people to bring 50 grand each. That's the down payment. That's $1 million that you can raise, and then it becomes easier. Then the world's your oyster at that point. You can buy anything at that point. And then you create a track record. Then you have experience, and then you share it with the group that the email list that you've established, and then it just compounds and snowballs at that point. Then it becomes ridiculous, and then people are banging down your phone. Hey, when's the next deal come up? When's the next opportunity? You'll never have to worry about money raising again. Takes audacity, takes a little bit of courage, but that's the name of the game.
You got to drop your nuts on it.
You got to. That's the only way. That's the only way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I need to. That's an aggressive term, but Zane, write that down.
I'll write it down.
On it. I love it. All right. Anybody else as we get rolling tonight? I love it. Cool. Well, I thought this was great. I really appreciate you guys getting on. I know that sometimes there's a lot of people on. There's a little people on. I do actually enjoy it when it's a smaller group because I feel like we can serve everybody a little bit more focused on each individual. So appreciate you guys making the time this evening. Hopefully the daylight savings isn't screwing up y'all's sleep or anything. But for those that are going to make it next week, and we cannot wait to see you, we are crazy excited. We've got a lot of great information, a lot of great people for y'all to meet, and not going to say it's life-changing or anything, but I think it's really going to impact all of us as a team and as we go forward in the new year and beyond. So excited about it.
Sounds fun.
Awesome. Anything else?
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, y'all have a great week, and hope to see everybody next week in Birmingham. Talk to you guys then, all right?
Take care. Thanks.
Take care.
See you guys. Thanks.